welcome back to Bolts and Blasters Devlog number 5. Today we will be looking into the narrative aspects of Bolts and Blasters. So, you play as Sheriff Trainee Bolt, who is manufactured by Blast Industries and sent to these islands to undergo your training to become a certified sheriff. For this purpose, you are assigned to Deputy L19, who is there to guide you through the bootcamp and ensure that you achieve your goal. But after you go through the first couple of simple tasks and get your magnet gun, things begin to be a bit weird. It seems as if you are not the first robot sent to this bootcamp. In fact, it seems that quite a lot of very similar robots have tried to succeed but have all failed. So now you're in a bit of a dilemma. Do you keep pushing on through your assigned training, or are you going to begin digging into what exactly has happened to your fellow robots? As the game progresses, it becomes more and more clear that you are not quite as unique as you thought. In fact, it seems that all previous robots were earlier iterations of you, and that each time that they failed, their data was programmed into the next iteration. The question now is, what is going to happen when you fail, or when you succeed? From a game development aspect, I wanted to create a loop where death isn't just a hard reset, but instead something that could impact the game. Here death is visible, and each time you die, your robotic corpse is going to stay where it died, giving you the player the possibility to use your former parts together with your magnet gun. This game mechanic is meant for you the player to become creative. Is there a high ledge you can't reach? Maybe if you die a couple times, you can stack the corpses and get up. Of course, this is a thing that is going to need a lot of balancing to ensure that it keeps being fun and not just annoying. The overall thought was also what would happen if a object undergoing a machine learning algorithm would become sentient in its learning progress. What would that object do when it realizes it is just one out of thousands of iterations? And that is the beginning of the narrative of Bolts and Blasters. The way that the story progresses from here is going to be chapter based. The first part of the game is revolving around chapter 1, the training area. And then from the ending of chapter 1 to the beginning of chapter 2, there will be a time skip, setting you the player in a new environment. This part is still heavily in its first phases, since I wanted to finish up the entirety of chapter 1 before moving on. Mostly because I have a tendency to overscope my projects. Something else that I want to talk about today is a couple of upgrades to the base mechanics of the magnet gun. As it was before, the gun could attract, repel, and pick up objects, which could be used to solve different puzzles. But a lot of you mentioned in the comments that it could be cool if it also could be used in a combat fashion. Specifically if you could hurl objects at the enemy, which I completely agree with. So that is exactly what I did. The magnet gun can now shoot objects when you have picked them up and be used to throw at enemies, which in turn stuns them. The object does get destroyed when thrown, which suddenly also makes it a finite material. So if you just keep throwing stuff at the enemy and not killing them, you might end up in some trouble. Also, since you can now stun the enemy, I will implement a defensive stance to the enemy robots. Which means that some robots cannot be hurt unless you have stunned them. Again, this gives a bit more depth to the combat, which results in a more enjoyable and fun experience. And that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, it really means a lot, and please keep coming with more suggestions on how I could improve the game. I read through all of the comments and it is really helpful with some solid feedback. If you would like to see more videos, then maybe like the video and press that subscribe button. Alright, have a wonderful day and I'll see you next time. Goodbye!